First and foremost, I want to give all infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harvard Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who rule and teach well into the other Akim out here pushing this truth into the four winds. Keep pushing, Akim. We almost out of here. The name of this lesson is Martin Luther Scheme. I repeat, the name of this lesson is Martin Luther Scheme. He was not our people. He was not for us. He only had his own interests at hand. He only had his own belly to think about, man. All right? I want you to think about what segregation did to our people as a people, right? I got scriptures lined up, but I'm going to just say this first. What benefit did segregation do to our people? Let's think about life before segregation. We had our own pharmacies, we had our own doctors, we had our own lawyers, we had our own clothing stores, we had our own everything. When you wanted to go get this and when you wanted to go get that from the stores, you went to another so-called black man. When you went to school, you went and got taught by another so-called black man. And see, this is where the Israelites and the prophets have the truth at. I don't care what school you go to, you're going to get the same curriculum. So it really doesn't effing matter. But our people in the times that we living in, they have to understand that the people that were set up to be our so-called leaders was placed there. That's called controlled opposition. This is a war, and these are warlike tactics. Your Malcolm X's and your Martin Luther Kings. Why did cameras magically find their way toward these guys? Why did ABC, NBE, and CBS go out of their way to go and film these guys? Just normal, natural guys. Martin Luther King was just a pastor, a preacher. He wasn't even part of no organization like Malcolm X. Malcolm X said his little fake story, at least it makes a little more sense, right? Martin Luther King was just I don't know what denomination it was, but I'm going to just say Baptist. He was just a Baptist or a Methodist pastor. So why did CBS, NBC, and ABC come and film him? And these are the things that our people just don't get. And it's crazy, bro. And Martin Luther King in the Bible, him and people like him or in the Bible, I'm going to get it. Right? So he was taught by the white man. He was trained by the white man. He was put on stage and on that platform by the so-called white man, right? And everything that he did was to benefit the system. We don't got to put a color on the system, but we know who wrote the system. Because the system has hella black people and hella Mexican and hella Latinos and hella natives. So it's a system now. But we know who wrote the system. The so-called white man wrote the system. So what Martin Luther King's job was, it was to scheme. It was to scheme the people. Martin Luther King's job was to make the lifestyle of the Edomites, the so-called white people, look like something that you want. They got the apple that you don't have, but you can have it. It's in your reach, it's in your range. You have to just go get it. Why? If we had our own businesses and we had our own infrastructure, why do you want to go over there with them? What did they do to us in slavery? And see, this is where small things make sense to prophets, but it never makes sense to niggas. Why did you want to go over there with these people after they did to you what they did to you? And now you have your own shit. You have your own community. Why you want to go over there? Let me get a precept. This is Jeremiah 23 and 25. I have heard what the prophets said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. I have dreamed. That sound familiar? I'm gonna read it one more time. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. Martin Luther King had a speech, his most famous speech called I Have a Dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. Okay? Good speech. That's about it. Didn't mean anything, man. That wasn't his dream, that was Esau's dream. And that's what it was at that time. It was a dream. To bring Israelite boys and heathen children together so that the heathen children can infect these Israelite boys and turn these Israelite boys into girls, turn them into police officers, turn them into judges, turn them into Muslims, turn them into Buddhists, things of that nature. Okay? Let me get another precept. And it was done under the scope of becoming economically equal to our oppressors. Now, we were doing very good at that time. And that's why black people with their big eyes, it cost them a whole lot. We were doing so good at that time, right? Economically speaking. And not just economically speaking, just being independent and having minimum influence from the devil, man. All right, let me finish this scripture real quick. Verse 25. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? So those were lies that were prophesied. And we know they were lies because we know what came back. We know they were lies because we see the condition of our people today. You wouldn't have niggas like King Von, Soldier Slim, Tupac Shakur, Boosie Badass, NBA Youngboy without Martin Luther King, without Malcolm X. They opened up mainstream media and they opened up their world and their influence to our people to use it against our people. It might not make sense to you what I'm about to say, right? Martin Luther King was the first Tupac. Martin Luther King was the first young boy. Martin Luther King was the first Dwayne Wade's son. It's about influence and it's about energy. When you understand influence, you can understand energy. When you understand energy, you definitely understand influence because influence points and guides where energy goes. All right. Verse 27, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. The prophet that have a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that have my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, saith the Lord? Is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord, and like as a hammer that breaketh the rock into pieces? You can't get the Lord's word mixed up with the devil's word. It's not going to make any kind of a sense. When you're talking about a church, right? You're talking about something that was supposed to be holy, that was supposed to be separate. When Martin Luther King was on the scene, a church was holy and it was separate. You had to dress a certain way and you had to conduct yourself a certain way, even though they were still being deceived with a white man on their wall. After Martin Luther King, you can come to this same church and you can have on a bodysuit as a woman, skin tight. After Martin Luther King, you can come to this church and two men can marry, two women can marry. Two different races can marry. We're not supposed to marry other races. We can have fun with them, but we can't marry them, man. After Martin Luther King, Young black boys took on the mentality of young black girls, and young black girls took on the mentality of young black boys. And prior to these Israelites taking on these off mentalities, they took on the mentalities of you people, Edomites. And that's why the scriptures say what? Learn not the way of the heathen. That's why the scripture says, envy not the way of your oppressor. And that's why the scriptures say the ending of a thing is better than the beginning of a thing. Do you know the end of Esau? Do you know the end of Western civilization? Let me get another precept. Let me get Deuteronomy 13:5. Deuteronomy 13:5. Matter of fact, I'm going to start from the top. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. That's what Martin Luther King told us to do. He told us to serve Jesus Christ, and he told us that the white man is our brother, the Arab man is our brother, the Asian man is our brother. What? And what has that done to us today? We don't look at each other as brothers and sisters. We look at each other as niggas and bitches. And when we get amongst these other nations, we treat them the way that we're supposed to treat each other. You go look at all of these so-called black killers, these black steppers. King Von killed, what, 6 or 7 men? Probably 10. What color were they? How many men did Soldier Slim kill? What color were they? How many bodies was Tupac responsible for? What color were they? That trial that Boosie went through, how many bodies were outside of Israel? All of these boogeymen in these different neighborhoods, Wayne Perry, what's that boy up there in New York, that cutthroat dude that Cameron played, Alpo? Did they kill anybody outside of Judah? So this is what your desegregation plan did. It turned you into your own enemy. Prior to desegregation, you were scared of the KKK, you were scared of militias, and you were scared of the white man. After desegregation, you're scared of yourself. You're scared of your sons and you're scared of your daughters. All right? Let me finish the scripture. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after the Lord your God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. So it's one thing to say that you serve the Lord, and it's another thing to actually go out and serve the Lord. What do you eat Monday through Monday? Who do you have sex with Monday through Monday? What do you teach Monday through Monday? Right? What do you think Monday through Monday? And what does your time and energy go into Monday through Monday? And that'll answer every question that you need to know about that person. Okay? Ye shall walk after the Lord your God and fear. Oh, I read that. Verse 5. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he hath spoken to turn you away from the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Lord thy God commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. Now, Martin Luther King was put to death Martin Luther King was put down. He died. But he had a following. He had a lot of people that followed his lead. What happened to them? Don't matter. The thing is this, what happened to their offspring? King Von is the offspring of Martin Luther King. Tupac Shakur is the offspring of Martin Luther King. Soulja Slim is the offspring of Martin Luther King. All these niggas that you see with these switches and these buttons, and they can't keep their pants pulled up on their behinds, are offsprings of Martin Luther's scheme. Okay? Niggerism, hip hop and rap couldn't exist without Martin Luther's scheme. The so-called white man and his welfare system couldn't exist the way that it exists without Martin Luther's scheme. You have to realize, before Martin Luther's scheme and before this desegregation plan, we didn't want what you people had. You people brainwashed our people into wanting what you have and wanting to join with you and live next door to you. Just like rap music has caused our people to kill one another and slay one another in record amounts and hate one another. You don't need no KKK. You got gang. You got hoods. You got jealousy. And the list goes on. So Martin Luther King, he got his he served his purpose, man. That was Esau's partner, that was Esau's homeboy. And the Lord killed him for it, according to Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. And everybody that took on his vibration, the Lord killed their offspring, according to Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. And really, according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay? And with that, man, I'm going to close out, man, and I hope that this was edifying to somebody. And I'm going to give all infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Harakwarkwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who rule and teach water to the other Akim out here pushing this truth into the four winds. Keep pushing, Akim. We almost out of here. Kwam Yasharala, a ball. Until next time, man. Shalom, Akim.